today. Yes, today. We find ourselves all equally blessed on this journey through greater and lesser evils. Join us as we explore the hard realities and uncomfortable truths plaguing our society. So without any further ado, let's jump right in and rip this band-aid off together. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Greater Lesser Evils. Let me get my most maniacal entry ever for this. With that being said, I'm joined as always with the two people that are trying to run out of the room right now that I'm glad they're stuck to their seats. We'll start with over here with the
X-Man.
And then we'll move over here.
I'm going to start blinking in Morse code, and he's actually holding us hostage.
But the devils possess me for this one. Oh, no. We got a real treat for you today. I know someone really, really excited next to me that has been wanting to do this forever, and this is our first one, and we promised you on the weekly preview, you know what we're going to go with here. This is the first Omen.
I love horror movies so much. So much.
And you're going to hear it all the way through this. And actually, you know what? I'm not even going to hate on it because I deep dived this with him, and I got a new appreciation for what this series in this not genre. This this
genre.
Title.
Yeah. It is the horror movie, the devil genre of the horror movies.
If more horror movies could give me this to start off a story to get me interested,
this is going to bring fans. You know, even casual fans to the horror genre. It is going to bring new people.
So what we're talking about are new people. Thank you for all the new people that have joined us here through Big Hearts.
Thank
all the
you.
way through
Thank
that.
you so much.
Yeah.
So let's get to the data sheet on the first Omen. Starring Nell Tiger Free. Am I saying that right? Nell Tiger Free?
Nell Tiger Free.
All right.
Real quick, though, she's the perfect one for this because she was born on October 13. 13's a bad number.
Stop lying.
If you're all into horror movies like I am, October's the devil's month, too. You know, she was born October 13, 1999. If you turn those nines upside down, they're sixes.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Mark of the Beast.
She was perfect for the role.
She was born for it.
Yeah.
Almost like it was destined.
Yeah.
Ralph Ineson, who's the Father Brennan, the Father Brennan character transfer over is perfect. He played that exactly like old boy did in the actual 1976 The Omen.
Creepy voice and all.
Sonia Braga, nice slutty friend. We all need a nice slutty friend. I don't know which one of them it is. You guys can figure out which one of them that's
actually him.
Oh, zing!
He's our slutty friend.
Right.
I've been out. Hey, the greatest trick the devil played in the world said he didn't exist. Written by Tim Smith and Raksha Smith Stevenson. I know this Raksha Stevenson hits home for you. This is a female director that's killing it, right?
Acacia Stevenson.
I said it wrong. My apologies.
I do believe this was her first shot at. This is her directorial debut.
Okay.
And she knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
Written by Keith Thomas, also directed by her. The budget was $30 million. Little known on this, Disney owns this studio.
Yep.
And Disney allowed this to happen, It gives us great hope for the Deadpool movie coming to. Always zing in Marvel. That's what I do. Box office so far up to taping has been $37 million, so they already made a profit.
Yep.
Doing quite well for a horror movie like you've talked about
Absolutely.
before. They generally don't do well in the thing. So there's been none so far, but this is maybe my predestined pick for the Oscar. The 1976 Omen won the 1977 Oscar for Best Music Original Score, Jerry Goldsmith. And I want one more thing in there, too. If you guys watch the trailer, on the trailer, the very end, it says, "It's all for you, Damien," if you play it back in reverse.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They were very thoughtful with everything that they did.
That's what I kind of noticed. This was a very detailed movie.
Yep.
It was very detailed, very methodical.
Had to pay attention in a movie like this to really get that. And if you like goth religion horror, if you like goth religion horror, this hits all the buttons. Okay. It really does.
Yeah. It was very, very methodical. Like it's like there's something behind everything that's going on.
And go ahead.
No, I'll say, and it's like that's what it makes you look for, that thing. And you wonder, is this real?
Well, and if you understand devil horror as a whole, it always happens in the shadows anyway, and that's why when you see that Acacia Stevenson, she did all those things on purpose in those movies, because if everything's supposed to be happening in the shadows, it's the same thing in real life. When you thought you saw something in the corner of your eye and you look and it's not there, you know, you're getting that vibe from a movie like this.
But what's funny, before you just brought it up, is it real? There are plenty of sects in the Catholic Church that believe that the Antichrist is the key to Christ coming back to earth. So this is actually something near and dear to people's hearts. Not that they're trying to create the human being
exactly.
that far, but
there's always a yin and a yang.
Exactly.
You know, without dark, there can't be light, and vice versa, and things like that. You know, and it is a very interesting take. You know, when you push something like this, as the story goes on, and you find out what's really happening and why it's really happening.
Okay. Yeah.
So we're gonna spoil something.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
Did someone say spoilers? Karate Kid.
No one said anything. Nope. No one said anything.
Karate Kid. Danny LaRusso. He whacks off a bunch of dudes at a karate tournament in front of a huge crowd, and an old man taught him how to do it. Am I saying that right?
I think he's waxed on and waxed off at the same time. Yeah. Waxed on and.
Do you know the worst part about it is he's not wrong.
Yeah.
All right, so going forward from that, actually, this is a perfect transition to evil. You know, Daniel LaRusso is evil, by the way. The Karate Kid is Johnny Lawrence. Johnny Lawrence is the Karate Kid.
It's a different movie.
But look it up. Johnny Lawrence is the Karate Kid.
Back to the Omen. The first Omen.
The child born of evil, right? So I think this is a great thing. I'm going to go ahead and let you take over here. Kind of explain to me the thought process of creating the Antichrist.
So you know what you're seeing in this situation. It's parallel to the original Omen, and they had to change this because in the original Omen, the mother was a jackal.
Okay.
Now, it doesn't really mean, and the devil and the jackal have always been intertwined in history when you're talking about evil things, because the jackal is a ruthless predator.
Can we do a trivia for him? Do you know where the jackal is the prominent figure for the afterlife?
No, I do not.
It's in Egyptian mythology.
Anubis.
Okay.
Anubis actually has a jackal's head.
Okay.
So this is deeply ingrained, you know, for things that happen, like, you know, in the afterlife or the underworld, if you will, which is why a lot of religions draw that parallel and compare things with the specifically the jackal.
Okay.
Now, we had to change this, and this is brilliant by Arcacia, because we had to change this, otherwise we have nowhere to go. So this is not a retelling of the Omen. This is new. Okay. This is the origin story of Omen, where we can build off of this.
Okay.
So this is how, and the reason the jackal is used isn't just because, like, oh, that's what the devil takes form as. It's just to show you that it's an unnatural birth. Nothing really says that the Antichrist is definitely Satan's kid or anything like that. It's just evil incarnate.
Right.
You know, so of being the offspring of Satan.
Absolutely. Okay. So bringing it into this world, it has to be done unnaturally.
Okay. That makes sense.
Also, if you would have chopped off his tooth, he would have had to go back to the underworld. That's a Tenacious D reference. I'm sorry. Pick of Destiny, also underrated movie. Explain to them the first scene. That first scene really killed me. I sat there in the movie theater with you, and I'm just sitting there and just explain this to me.
This also is paying homage to the original Omen.
Okay.
You know, with the pole, and people that have watched these movies over and over, like myself, you know, you see that it's happening. You know, they're talking about the evil that's coming, and then the happenstance happens, Final Destination style. You know, there always seems to be a chance death, and instead of getting the pole through, you think that the priest actually survived. You know, like it hit behind him.
He didn't make it.
Turns out he didn't make it.
He didn't make that.
You know,
yeah,
because in those types of situations, you know, it seems like the devil or the evil, you know, is growing and growing and growing.
Okay.
You know, so what you're already seeing is this terrific foreshadow that something awful is coming.
So I think we have a great blend up here of kind of religious beliefs. And there is some religious, but we're not going to trounce you with it. This isn't going to be one of those, I'm not going to get on my pulpit and get on a sermon here. But I want to turn to you here. And I wanted to ask you, do you think there's actually a manifestation of evil? And do you think that we manifest ourselves that as humans in our own self-realization orientation of what we actually do in the world? Or do you think there's actually something puppeteering us, driving us like a Satanos?
Well, so everything you just described, you can describe that with the concept of the internet being being alive, right? So it's the same thing, not only the internet being alive, but also this hybridized idea of AI, right? Because at the end of the day, AI will at some point, if it keeps going at the pace that they say it is, it will be God of the world at some point.
I'll do you one better.
Yeah.
You ever talk to yourself in your head?
All
Exactly.
the time.
Your subconscious? And every once in a while, even for a guy in great shape, it tells you to eat cookies.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
That's facts.
But I listen to mine way too much. I'm constantly giving into it. You know, and if the subconscious is simply there, it may not be a physical manifestation of a measurable evil, but it's probably in every single one of us, because we have a little voice in our head that tells us to do good things, and sometimes it tells us to do bad things.
Yeah.
So let me turn that with you. What do you think the output? Now, I'm going to say I'll go first here. Religion to me is the biggest evil that the world's ever produced. So what do you think about religion's influence or outcome on the world right now?
So what I love about religion, I don't care what deity, you know, that you believe in, and there's like 2 or 3, the big 3, you know, basically that are out there and whatnot. When religion makes you a better person, I'm all for it. Some people do, you know, need something else to believe in because their moral compass isn't strong enough to do it by themselves. But it has, by design, I think it keeps a lot of us apart. I really do, you know, and you see it in children a lot, you know, whether you're doesn't matter which one, you know, you're believing in. Little kids just want, whoever's got the ball, they want to play with.
That's right. They just want to play. That's all they want to do.
And as you further get indoctrinated into some of these things, it's actually the fanatics in each one that really hurt the brands. You know, there's in the history of the world, there's been like 18,000 deities that we've all prayed to in one way or another. And there's probably still, you know, whether it's saints or prophets or, you know, just the Almighty or however it is. When it makes you a better person, I love it. I think and it doesn't matter where you live in the world. If it's making you a better person, I love it. And that's the part that I like to actually focus on. Sure.
That's facts. I'm the same way. I believe it is making you better, because I understand some things is for a lot of people, you take on so much of a burden to this world the longer you stay alive, in a way. Or for some people, even the young, they may be born into a world of burden. They need to find a way to get that burden off their back so they can keep moving forward in life. And religion allows you to keep moving forward, like in your life, knowing that like you have this whole burden behind you.
Things. You know, and some of us have lived all over the world and been exposed to other religions, you know, and when you learn it a certain way, and you think that it might be bad, and then when you're submersed in it and you realize, you know, man, there's a lot of good people, you know, in one, you know, peaceful people that wish to live in peace. Yeah. You know, it's eye-opening. So that's why I'm so neutral on religion. I just support that for the most part, it really does make a lot of people better.
I got to follow up. I
love that.
So this young lady, Margaret. Hey, I'm thirsty. Okay, it is what it is. And I love Italian. Italian pizza is amazing. When I went to Italy, I ate every single place we went, I ate pizza. Anyway, with that, she's in the church. She's been used her entire life. Spoiler: she's the baby mama of the antichrist. Yeah, baby mama antichrist.
What's so cool about that, though, is as that story continues to go, you realize how deep that rabbit hole really goes.
Yep. And I'm sure they're going to go in more of her character background here when they actually talk about when she tries to level with Damien on a level here. And but I don't want to dwell on that. But
she does have a very fresh face. You know, she has a very innocent look about her. A perfect person to put into the role of a nun. And she's strong, you know, and she has flaws. These are the type of people, the type of writing that I thoroughly enjoy, because again, this is a retelling. This is what the Omen should have been, because after the original Omen, when people go like, "Oh man, that was really good," the other one sucked.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
You know, so
and they better not use that as the middle ground and go to 3.
They continue to bring Arcacia back. Yeah. She wrote this brilliantly.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay,
I want to double tap with the church though here, and I can appreciate both you guys' influences here, and I think a lot of people do lip service. I know neither one of you are lip service people here, but but could you serve a church? Could you give your life to whatever deity you want and do that your entire life?
Well, I think anybody that believes in something strong enough gives themselves fully to that. Whether it's if the military was your religion, everything could, even if it was that pizza that you love so much in Italy,
the Church of Finance,
like
Church Pizza.
Going to a strip club is actually
it could be a church of some sort.
It is a church because you're worshiping you're literally worshiping a deity. The whole idea of walking into a strip club is actually it's walking to a church. Mm-hmm. You walk through these doors. You give like a tithe to the front man, whatever the case is. Then from that point on, you walk in, and then you have your deity that you're going in to worship, because you're worshiping through money at the end of the day, and you're hoping to get attention from said deity back to you. And however you see it as like attention as.
And I'm pretending that I'm learning this for the very first time because I've been married for 25 years. What is a strips club? What did you call that?
So also, if you go up to your strip club
and
you tell them GLE sent you, they'll give you free entry. Try it. Try it. You don't know what's going to work if you don't try it.
It's 50% on Mondays. Everybody knows that. 50% off on Mondays.
The third dance is free, too.
I only go to strip clubs to read the articles.
It's like, I go for the buffets.
Yeah. I'm just there for the chicken wings.
Yeah. I'm just there for the wings. But no matter what, but at the end of it all, like all these things in a sense or way, you're worshiping. That's what I'm saying.
Let me take your stripper float here and go with this. She's dressed up for her first time in her life and what was be close enough to her in a very feminine, and she's a very attractive young lady.
Yeah, she's never felt sexy in her entire life, and she's got something on that's very revelling. And
cue the rest with this. Go ahead.
So and then she has a night, an absolute night of fornication and things that are against the cloth, against her religions. If she's supposed to be going towards her vows, this isn't like when the Amish, when you hit like 16 and they let you go out for a minute, do some crazy things, and then you go, I want to live in the real world or over here. This wasn't a choice, and the temptation, that little voice in her head told her to go with it, and whether you drink too much, some bad decisions were made.
Yeah. And there's some bad decisions for me. Also, she's so trusting. This woman is the most trusting woman I've ever. They made her a perfect sacrificial lamb. Like if you could draw a lamb and put her face on it, not that I just did that on the screen. But if you could do that, this is the exact the thing she does the entire movie. Yeah. She just goes with all this, and everyone around her is laughing at her, and she doesn't get it. And I think it's great when you get to see the full circle. And I'm sorry I'm spoiling this for you right now, but if you haven't watched it, stop, watch it, and then watch the way everyone reacts to her.
It's really terrific. You really do get a lot of natural reaction out of these things, and even the jump scares that they use aren't tired. Even some of them that Arcacia wrote into this were so creative because there's like a shadow in it, and like, oh, you're gonna roll your eyes, and then it didn't happen. It was actually a different jump scare. Jump scares are part of horror movies, no matter what it is, but these felt perfectly timed and not overused whatsoever.
Also, I think it's perfect in the Catholic religion. Again, she's Catholic, so we're going to go with Catholic for this movie purpose. The Virgin Mary, the feminine, is a very big deal. It's depicted all through Renaissance art in Italy and all that.
That's why you're using the symbolism in a situation like this, because what we're talking about here is the reverse of the Immaculate Conception. Literally the reverse
Not
of
the
that.
one with Franco Harris.
The inverse of the Immaculate Conception, where in Christianity, God impregnates the Blessed Mother in with his essence, from afar. And this is the inverse of that. It happened, behind closed doors in a very forced
and visceral.
Yes.
Yeah. Instead, it wasn't.
So that visceral moment,
all the opposite.
I know he loved it, but I'll because he's going to jump on this as soon as I give him a chance to. But that scene, the setup, the music. I'm not going to talk about. I'm not going to glorify rape, and I'm not glorifying rape here for anyone with this. But with this scene is that setup is so dark.
Yes.
And the perfect use of the hands and not seeing the beast.
This isn't
later.
glorifying anything.
I don't want to make anyone think I'm
nobody
glorifying
is.
by saying
Nobody is at all.
No, because this is legitimate. Like she is not enjoying this at all.
But that visceral feeling of it, that gritty, horrible. You get that same feeling I got from Rebel Moon Part 1.
Despair,
but just transfer over in just a little bit the way it's.
You have fear and despair, and you really are feeling what the character is going through in that situation. Confusion, fear, and despair.
And that mouthpiece where
the silk that's over her face, and all these things are very ritualistic, that you can look up and see if satanic rituals, actually could bring the Antichrist.
I was going to say this is the exact ritual you would use. Yeah, I was like, all this stuff is
very realistic things that have been written down in somebody else's ancient text.
Yeah. I mean, this isn't far off.
They're really using what do they call those? The consultants, but they're using occult consultants and things, and they did the same thing in Hereditary, and that's why you see. You might have seen one of those in a weird book somewhere, symbols and things like that.
Oh, there's plenty of books on the occult out there.
Absolutely.
Plenty of books out there with that.
But that's why these type of horror movies are feeling more real, is because they're using more real subject matter.
Okay.
And,
so they did their homework on this one.
So in some ways you could kind of see this as if you watch this movie, you're participating in a ritual.
Oh yeah.
This is the whole idea behind it too.
This is the time you don't want to be a fly on the wall.
I was gonna say that. Yeah.
And they're holding your eyes open.
Yeah, exactly.
But look what they did to the fly on the wall. Perfect example of the dude that she thought that she fornicated with. Yeah. What happened to him?
Yeah.
So, and which is again another throwback to the original Omen, where in one of those scenes somebody's getting too close to whatever, and there's a decapitation. Mm-hmm. Well, she makes it even more gruesome.
Yeah.
She makes this even more gruesome because
what I would have loved,
yeah.
and this is hope she does it, that Damien did it from inside of her.
Wouldn't that be something?
That would be a great little thing that they could be like. Damien says, "Oh yeah, remember that dude? Yeah, I took care of him for it."
Did that.
That would be that's a perfect foreshadowing from the inside of the womb. Because again, she suddenly becomes pregnant. She shouldn't have a natural gestation. Right. Just
it has to happen on the 6th month, on the 6th day of the 6th hour. All the little symbolism things have to align just right.
Which they nailed because that had to be perfect with that. They didn't flash forward 9 months like. Thank you for not doing that.
She did a great job of feeling out of control, fighting whether it was a possession or whatever.
Okay, so that'll lead you to tell me about let me fast forward to it and then tell me about it. Mm-hmm. She finds out about stuff. Father Brennan does his role. He pushes her. She goes through. She finds out they've been doing this for a long time. She's one of many thousands and thousands of years of post-death, which we'll double tap to this. But there's a scene where the church chases her down and she gets crashed. And she's on the side of the road and she goes through her formation of her belly. Yeah. And then tell me what she starts to go through with that.
So when you're looking at if the baby's taking over the body, there's so much that's going on in that situation, and if she's fighting the demon inside of her, they're crossing possession with a demonic birth, and the barking that she's kind of doing is associated, just like if you watch The Exorcist, every time the devil got close, the dogs would go crazy and things like this.
Yeah.
There's all these really subtle, amazing little things. If you believe in demonic, or if you've watched documentaries and things about demonic possession or exorcisms and things, you see that they really did their homework in a movie like this.
Yeah. That's what I say. It felt personal.
It really did.
Yeah, it felt very personal. Yeah. That's why I say you watching it. You're like, I know this has happened somewhere. You know what I mean?
Scary.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Because the movie went from being a traditional, let's call it a traditional movie, to being a supernatural movie. It started out traditional and then it turned 100% supernatural.
And that's why I do think that people of all sects will be able to relate to something like this. And even for people that don't believe, in gods and devils and things like this, are really in for a treat of a story that really could draw somebody in. May not get them to read books about it in one way or another, but seeing that religious Gothic horror is still out there, and in a movie like this, some of the body gore, and they didn't have to use a lot of cheap tricks or
special effects.
Yeah, not too much crazy makeup. You know,
I don't think there was really any crazy makeup.
Right.
I think it was organic.
The movie score itself gave you dread. You know, everything in this, if you even if you don't like horror, might bring you something.
I would cross this over into a drama horror because it tells me more of a plot than I'm used to a horror story giving me.
It's a bit of a slow burn. Because they do have to set up some of these things, especially for people that may not, follow Catholicism or Christianity or things like that. Because this is very, I want to say it's like Catholic specific,
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Because it's like when they keep saying they're gonna do the veil, right? And understand, the veil. What's it called? Under the veil.
You put the veil.
Yeah,
perfect.
it was the veil. And the thing about it is you're marrying. The whole concept is you're marrying God.
Yeah.
Right, and that's the whole idea. You're giving your whole life over, your life, your soul, your everything over to God. And that's the whole concept of the
marriage stole
your
that.
Whole life.
Exactly. That whole point where the groom takes the veil off the thing, they stole that from Catholicism.
Oh, is that
that's
right?
what 100%. That's part of the ceremony they steal over because the woman becomes, again, I love all women. The woman becomes the male possession by old school.
Well, marries the man instead of the faith.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, so he's the veil, she's actually pledging himself to.
That's interesting.
Him. Anyway. With that being said, so let's fast forward here. Well, we don't fast forward because we're already there.
Because I love when they take the veil away from the church. Also, that you find out that the church is behind it.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. Because she felt it.
Yes.
Once they started putting the thing on, because they're so rough.
Yep. And even in the real world, several years ago, maybe a decade or more now, there were some scandals in specifically the Catholic Church that drove people away from Catholicism. Maybe not Christianity as a whole, but Catholicism. And you see, that there's still two main religions in the world. But if they were trying to spin this in a movie, in a fantasy world, that you also see in politics and politicians try to scare people into voting for them.
Yep.
So if you're drawing those parallels, and don't vote for them because this is going to happen if you do, and oh boy, I better not. And if a politician ever gets caught with their hand in the cookie jar for creating a violent act just for people to go to one side or another, and this is what they're saying in this fantasy world, the Catholic Church is actually bringing that to bring people back to them.
Exactly.
It's a very
realistic.
It's a parallel of real life.
Scary.
It's very realistic. Yeah, extremely very.
100% it is.
Yeah.
So I want
brilliant writing.
It is indeed. I want to go right to the scene where you just realized you're pregnant with the Antichrist. What do? Do you kill yourself?
I would imagine yes, 100%.
I'm asking you. What would you do?
Oh, what I would do? Oh man, you're talking about. It's gonna be a wild ride.
Tell me
real fast. So first, I found out.
Take me down the briar patch.
Well, long story short, I now found out I'm immortal, real fast. So I'm gonna do every absolute thing I can do up until that moment.
Yeah.
I'm saying that because the point is first of all, the devil doesn't want to die.
Yeah.
All right. They don't want to. It doesn't want to kill its own kids.
It's not the devil.
Right. No,
it's the Antichrist. Let's.
Okay, yeah. So let's call it Antichrist, right? So the Antichrist definitely doesn't want to die, but the only reason I say the devil because the devil had a hand in it, and the last thing.
It's fair. I just want to make sure everyone.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right.
You
You're
have
right.
to
You're
remember if we're following what ancient books and the way that movies are given to you, the devil may be eternal, but the things that man hold true on earth.
Yeah.
So nobody's immortal on earth. So once you leave the universe of whatever that is, you wouldn't be. So don't go stepping in front of buses.
That's on
Earth.
Because that's my point. But at the end of the day, I would test it to the max. That's my exact point. Absolute to the max. Can I walk off the top of this building?
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see how far you want to go, bro.
Yeah.
You got to stop me.
That's a great. I think that's awesome. I would probably go to one of those strip clubs because my wife couldn't kill me.
Free dances on Wednesdays. GLE. We all would do different things. I can appreciate that.
But exactly.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah,
all right.
But you test it out?
Oh, man, I would test the shit out of it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I would test the shit out of it. And then afterwards, I would definitely kill myself.
Would you?
Right now. Yeah.
I don't think I would. I do believe in fate. I do believe that some of us were put on this earth to be certain things, whether we were saviors or healers or things like that.
Right.
And that's kind of why our roads, I really do feel like, drive us a certain way. There's plenty of forks in those roads. The decisions you make define who you are.
Right.
But no matter what it is, sometimes those roads always lead back to whatever that straight line was.
So you're going
was
to final
supposed to be.
destination.
A little bit like that. But I don't kill myself, because I honestly think if I have control of me, or control of my child, that I may be able to help. There's other movies or TV shows like Good Omens, I think is one of those that actually addresses that exact theme that they're giving here, and I love that she struggled with it, after she gives birth and she grabs the thing and and
I want to hold you in that moment. I want to hold you in that moment because I want to ask you this question. So what he's saying is they actually get a hold of her. It's a very, very gritty look. I've seen pregnancies happen in real life, and that made me want to throw up.
I held my breath while that was happening, and the music match, like the dread, everything there, and it goes back to the Hollywood thing that you guys have pointed out before, the killing or the abuse of children and things in Hollywood movies. But I love that the parallel I drew from this, even if it was like a abortion-y style topic, that it was still the woman's choice. I loved that she chose that she chose not to. She couldn't bring herself to do it.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. And I think that's who I am also inside, and that's why I related so much.
So you wouldn't kill the kid?
I wouldn't kill the kid.
I would kill the kid in the heartbeat.
No, I understand why a lot of people would make that choice.
Right there, kill the father, and just start kill me.
But
I'm dead.
I do believe that there is a chance. There's always a chance, because we were given free will. So no matter what your destination may be destined for, there is all kinds of possibilities.
Fair. And we're going to go back when we talk about good and evil towards the end. Sure. Would you kill the kid?
Yes. I would. Because everything you just said, that is true. We are 100% given free will, but the problem with this particular scenario is that we know what happens at the end of the story.
Well, and it's very interesting, because even in the Christian Bible, there's a big gap in Jesus' story. And there was 30 years or so, because he went from like 13 to being like 35 or something like this.
He died at 33.
And if Margaret in this can, protect the child, and show, how many good things there are out there, maybe because humans have free will doesn't necessarily mean that you have to accept your fate.
So you're killing it. I got to go into it, and I'm going to let you know.
I'm not killing it.
No, he means you're killing it. As in
metaphorically.
I'm
not killing it.
Yeah.
Metaphorically, you're killing it.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
So let's go into the whole. So you believe that? Okay, so let's preface this for everyone out there. All right, you have an evil entity that's Jackal. You have the evil entity that's born of the Jackal, which is Skana Margarita Pizza. And then you have their baby, Damien, and his sister, Skana.
Did they give... Oh, Skana... No, Skana was supposed to be...
Skana.
Oh, they're all named Skana?
Yeah.
Okay, so the other female Skana also.
So it would be... That was her lineage, because she's of the devil.
Gotcha.
You get something evil. So you're telling me that you believe evil has a chance of being good.
I do. And the reason for that is because of the yin and yang. And people that are good become evil all the time. And there are people that have served, even like neo-Nazis can be reformed. There are plenty of people along the way that go, this isn't right. And they change, or something happened when you were serving good and that absolute power corrupted you and you ended up, flipping to the other side. It happens all the time. And until that child hits those ages, the age where they become self-aware and they start making their own choices, I have faith, like Margaret did in this, and go like, you know what, maybe I can protect him. Maybe I can, and not protect him so he can grow up to be the Antichrist. Maybe I can protect him from himself.
Fair. Father X.
Maybe.
So
it's
like
hard.
I said, it is hard, but I think the main issue is that, so I have this thing called like a universal like issues, right? When I call universal being that if a rule applies inside this universe,
yes,
then that means that is it has to be, like you said before, like if there's in this world, if there is an antichrist, right? Then that means the book was written.
Yep.
The book was written for this particular person or whatever you want to call it. But the it's not about like how the kid grows up or they become a bad or good person. It's that within the window, it could just be, I call it like let's call it a Winter Soldier program, right? They are perfect kids up until 22:30 on June the 10th, right?
And then a switch.
And then just like that, the program is activated. And then 1 year, let's call it 2 years exactly later, they turn back into the perfect little child they was before. But the problem was the damage that happened between that 22:30 and then that time he switches back on again.
It's the same with werewolves.
Yeah.
Every full moon,
that's like
they go nuts.
But that's my favorite. That's my favorite of all time. Like monsters. I'm saying it right now. Like what was my favorite of all time monsters?
Every horror, even casual fans find things in horror movies to hold on to because even for something like this, we're talking about a cycle. Every 666, this happens. It's werewolf, but the werewolf cycle is just so much. You've got to chain yourself up. On full moon if you don't want to go out and hurt people.
Exactly.
I got a curious question because he brought it up, and I wasn't going to bring it up and ask a question. Werewolves is favorite. What's your favorite as a horror guy? What's your favorite monster?
I like the supernatural stuff. I like the unexplainable stuff. I do like the stories about the devil because there's so many parallels out there, and the devil exists in every religion. They call him something different, but a god also exists, and a character like Jesus also exists. Even in Buddhism, you've got Buddha. He was like a prince. And he realizes people were being really mistreated, so he walked away from it all, found his enlightenment. There are very Muhammad has the same kind of epiphanies and things like that. Jesus, of course, is a tremendous story, especially in America. Our values were built on Christianity, even on our money, it says like in God we trust, and things like that still. And I just love the battle, but that's inside of every single one of us.
Well, look how many pentagrams are. He's big on symbolism with the UFOs and everything.
Absolutely.
With that being said, but look at all the symbolism of the devil's out there. Anyway, there's tons of Christian and rhetoric.
But there's just as many good symbols out there as there are. Those.
It's all what you equate in your mind, which is good or not.
Absolutely.
Good, so let me go ahead and wrap up this movie. So she leaves. They don't give a shit about the. They don't care about the daughter just sitting there screaming.
Like, for real.
Like, they just walk out. Like, I get it. They got their prize. It's the first time in 1,000 years. So be it. But they leave. She grabs the daughter. They go off and live. And then they do some foreshadowing with Father Brethren.
I love that he comes back to try to warn him. And she's just like, get out of here.
Just get out of here.
So
we don't need you.
Where I want to go here, both of you, is where do you see the series going from here then?
I think that you fast forward until he's 6 years old because that's the next opportunity. They do have to give that baby to a senator. They have to stay true to form. But the next trial in his life needs to happen when he's 6 years old.
So let me wrap up just for them if they didn't see it. So what you do see at the end of the movie, there was a stillbirth for the ambassador. And he didn't realize that his child didn't die, but they actually killed it off screen. It's dead. And they replaced Damien, the Antichrist, with his child and gave it to him. That's the last scene you see in the birthing room. So they've already put that in play.
It's a terrific parallel to what the original Omen was, and it gives us a lot of opportunity to expand. Because now we have an opportunity to write it really well. And move it forward where the sequels, like in The Conjuring, The Conjuring was so good that now you could branch out and tell the origin story of the doll and whatnot. But here we are starting with the origin story of the Antichrist.
So what do you got, man?
You say, so where they're going with this is, I want to believe that I like how when it goes off, they ask Marguerite, they're coming for you. He's just like, I don't care.
Yeah.
That's my hope. I love that part because it says so much about it's like how we as a everyday, people, right? These are grand schemes going on in the world, but we just want to live our life.
Yep.
All right, at the end of the day,
Yep.
that's all we want is to live our life and be left in peace.
Oh, yeah.
On our own.
But I also love as flawed as they showed you she is, because she's a human being, that she's still tough enough to take care of herself, because at the very end she didn't have any trouble pointing that shotgun at that guy.
Nope.
Yeah, she was,
Get out of here.
She went full circle,
Right.
Yeah.
in her off time. So let's go full circle with this movie. Let's go ahead and ask the devil to squeeze. And what did we get here? Anyone first?
Tank, you go for it.
In the horror movie genre, this is a home run. But to be fair, because horror movies are my favorite thing in the entire world, Exorcist is still my favorite movie of all time. I can't watch that movie at night before I go to bed. It has to be at noon, so I can have time to forget about it before I go to bed.
He also calls me afterwards.
Yeah, I do. I make him sit in my room until I fall asleep. This is astonishing for me. I would love to give it higher than that, but I'm trying to be fair because I am a little biased with horror movies. Okay. This is an absolute home run for horror movies. This should be rated on IMDb somewhere around 7. It really should. This is not a 5.5 in the horror movie genre. This is a 7 all day long, and it should be a 7 across the board. I think it's astonishing. I think for Arcacia's first shot, if this was her first directorial debut, it's a grand slam.
Okay.
It's a spectacular writing, spectacular direction. The acting was terrific. The shadows, the cinematography was amazing. It's astonishing for me.
X.
All right. I'm a person that I guess I was lost a little bit in this movie. I'm not gonna lie.
Are you
I was
found now though?
No, I am.
Because there could be some people out
No,
there that
I'm saying
were lost.
exactly.
Take you out to the river and use it real quick.
I know that's my whole point. Like this is a movie where
Born again.
I will. This is a movie I will say that you kind of need a precursor to, right? It's the same thing as you need to understand a lot about.
They don't explain Catholic and
Yeah,
Christianity
I was
and things, so you need to have already known some of this.
That's what I'm saying. You need to know a little bit more.
Yeah.
So to me, I think just from a regular person's perspective, I would say they're wonderful because they don't know. Because I had found myself looking something for once, and but it doesn't take away from the movie itself because this is a very personal movie. Like this is personal. You feel as though, like I said before, you're participating in a ritual when you're watching this. So in a sense, I want to say it's wonderful, but at the same time, like from the amount of detail, it's sensational, right? Like, I don't know, because I don't understand. I'll say this right now. I am lost in this movie, but I do know that it is worth watching.
Would you watch another one? On the strength of this?
Yeah, I would definitely watch another one.
Okay.
That's my whole point. Like, this is a movie.
Okay.
Yeah, I would definitely watch another one of these movies because I feel as though, like, at this point, I know what is happening like now, right?
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And I hope that if anyone had that same feeling that you had before they came into this and they listened to us talk, that they got a much better feeling. Please feel the need to go back and watch it again. I'm going to give it as a sensational, and the only reason I'm getting it lower is if they were going to give my origin story, they could at least ask me before they put it on film. Let's go to Best of Show. Where are we putting this?
Well, I think if I gave it an astonishing and both of you gave it a sensational, it should say ass up there.
Yeah, that's what it will say.
It's gonna say ass.
Oh, that's
how
fact,
perfect
yeah.
for the devil just hijacked even our own rating.
Wow. Wow.
It's got to be somewhere between Rebel Moon and Poor Things. I think is probably, or if it goes near Roadhouse, I'm not sure, but so it's going to go somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, it is.
I won't be mad if it's above or below any of those really good movies, but this is another one of those movies that is going to go in the middle, but not get lost. You're going to remember when you see this movie. You're going to remember it.
Yeah, this is going to terrify. Like, I don't think most people actually go watch this movie.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. Like, I think so because I'm telling right now, people just not gonna see it.
Yeah.
Like, they're just not gonna see it because this is the realest excuse my language. This is one of the realest occult movies I've ever seen before.
It's very in your face.
It's very in your face. Like, there's so much imagery.
Yeah, and they don't pull any punches when they give it to you.
It's in your face. You're like, I know I'm watching something, and I feel as though I may be getting affected by it.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. It is like one of those things, and if you don't like horror movies, you're gonna. I'm not gonna lie. You may just not. You may turn it off within the first maybe 10 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
Or if you want to go watch the movie, but if you like horror movies, go see this movie.
Yeah.
I cannot express enough. Go see the movie like horror movie.
Fair. We'll put it on the board for you guys, and we'll go forward with that. But I hope everyone does go watch this movie. It's well worth your time. Just like every episode of Greater Lesser Evils, but I may be a little biased, so who knows. But for the X, for the tank, this is Nitro in the studio as always. Waiting to see you guys later.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that brings the program to its unfortunate end. If you liked or hated it so much you can't wait to see what we say next,